what you need when you're talking a cavity wound, you need to absorb the large amount of exudation that you have on that wound. But in the end, you need to transfer the exudation from the bottom to the top. And that's where you need to select the perfect dressing. The second dressing has a different behavior because you fulfill exactly as the same as the first one. But the problem is when it starts to absorb, it only absorbs the area that is in contact with the exudation. So it doesn't transfer. What happens? In the end, it absorbs, jellifies, and works like a plug. So working like a plug, it will leave the rest of the exudation in the bottom of the wound. That's not the good environment to the healing rates. What you have here, it's the same cavity wound with two different dressings. We are going to apply in both dressings the same amount of fluid, and you can see the behavior, it's almost similar between both. It starts to absorb in this capacity, but in a certain moment when the liquid stops, you can see immediately that on the left side the absorption continues and the transfer of fluid to the superior layers, it's maintained. On the right side, it's not the same behavior. You see there's a lot of collection of fluid on the bottom, and on the left you see that they have again empty spaces without any kind of fluid. So you can see immediately there's a huge difference between both of them. Large space and full fill of fluid. When you try to implement again the same amount of fluid, you see again the same behavior. Starts to absorb, but on the left side you see the transfer of humidity to the superior layers, and on the right side you see that stops only on the part that is in contact with the dressing. On the left side you see again that you have a larger spaces, and you see there's a continuous absorption of the fluid, and on the right side there's a large amount of fluid on the top. That's what we cannot see while we are in daily practice, but we imagine that in the bottom we are not expecting to have a large amount of fluid as we can see on the right side. So now when you start to take out the dressing, you see how the dressings on the right side are not saturated. So you have a large amount of fluid on the bottom and the dressing is not saturated. On the left, it's completely absorbed the fluid. And you can see here in the hand, it's amazing the difference with the same amount of exudation. There's a huge difference on the amount of exudation from the left, from the right side. You see on the right side the plug effect that I talked previously, because it's not able to absorb the amount of exudation that we want on that wound.